What's going on, everybody? It's Kilo, and we are back for another episode of the regular podcast on the regular network. It's real. What's going on, y'all? Let's jump right into it. How's everybody's week been going? Oh, man, I know I missed last week. That's my fault. I had too much happening last week, and it was a lot. And I didn't want to cram in an episode while I was that tired. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and miss this one. That wasn't the best idea, but I did it. That's what I did. So what's going on? How was everybody's last 2 weeks? Please make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Comment your thoughts below. Share the video. Go ahead and do the survey in the description. Let me know what you want to see, what you want to talk about, discuss, everything like that. Shout out to everybody that helped us get over 4,000 subscribers finally. My voice is probably kind of raspy a little bit because I've been sitting here like reading things and not talking for the last however long. So it's been a minute since I actually spoke. So my voice is a little, you understand? So, you know, that's part of the game. Part of the game. One of the biggest things that was discovered this week that I definitely want to jump right into. We're going to do the debate of the week, the case of the week, all that. We're going to do our topics. But one of the big things I wanted to get into, man. Oh, man. Things have gotten bad for brother Umar Johnson. For Dr. Brother Umar. Things have gotten bad. Let me see if I can pull something up right quick. Hold on. See if I can pull something up right quick. Look at Umar. You see that? Let me just read this tweet just so y'all can, because what we want to talk about, what I want to talk about really is, where do we think he went wrong at, right? Let's read this tweet from, I don't know if you say Tamora or Tamra Sharif Muhammad. Reports from Delaware state that Dr. Umar Johnson's FDMG Academy is facing 2 court judgments totaling $76,776.44 for unpaid fees, that's water bills and penalties. Court filings confirm the city of Delaware has issued writs of monition, granting the sheriff authority to seize and auction the school building if the balance isn't cleared within 30 days. This is bigger than one man. It's a lesson for us all. Black institutions cannot survive on passion alone. We must have boards of directors, qualified accountants, and systems of checks and balances in place to protect the vision. Annual fees and penalties on an unoccupied property should never be allowed to snowball to this degree. I'm sure Dr. Umar will address this in due time, but let this serve as a reminder. If we are serious about nation building, we must be just as committed to administration as we are to inspiration. Now, that's really one of the better breakdowns that I've heard about it. Not breakdowns, but pieces. She said what she needed to say, right? You know what I'm saying? He's about to lose his school buildings due to unpaid fees and that he owes to the local government, right? She established that. She also established that Umar was operating on mostly inspiration and his ability to inspire people. He was inspired himself to start a school, and he was inspiring other people to get behind him. What he wasn't doing was handling the business part. No, he didn't have good administration. He seemed to be trying to do everything in a black box. Probably didn't have much help. If he had much help, he would have probably been in a better position than this. But it seems that he tried to Tyler Perry this thing, and it did not work the same way for him at all, because you are not making a film. You are trying to build schools. So it went a little bit different for him. We could pull up. Now, there's also, so she said she saw that Umar is going to address it, and he did address it. So let me go over to the video of him addressing it. Let's see here. Now, of course, this was an opportunity for a lot of people to really clown him crazy, because Umar has talked crazy about so many people and to so many people, and there have been a lot of people that have been calling him scammers throughout the years. So they couldn't wait really for this. I'm not saying that they're wrong for taking the opportunity to get on them like this, right? I'm not saying they're wrong. I don't agree with it, but I can't knock them either. I can't knock them for finally feeling vindicated, right? ignore the tag of that person's name in the video. They don't own the video. This is Umar's video, but they was able to get a clip of it, so they ended up tagging their own name in it, which is fine. I'm just saying ignore it. Okay, let's listen to Umar explain what he feels is going on, and we're gonna break it down. We're gonna get into it. Let me put my headphones on.
On August the 5th, the city of Wilmington, Delaware, took out a notice to auction off the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy campus for unpaid vacant property registration fees. I repeat, on August the 5th, the city of Wilmington, Delaware, took out a lien to auction off the campus we bought, the campus we've been working on for 6.5 years. I was not notified of this. We were not notified of this. This past weekend.
Okay, let's stop real quick. When you say when he says he was not notified of this, one thing that we know for the government, they move extremely slow, right? There's one thing that we know about the government. If the government is the one taking your property, it is likely that whatever they are, using against you to claim or seize that property, it likely has been years since they first notified you. Okay. And I think that's the case because with, 15,000 in water fees, water bills and all this type of stuff, that means for years there have been things backing up and he has not paid them. So this whole he hasn't been notified thing, I don't know how he thinks the notifications work, but they weren't going to send you like an email or anything like that unless you set up an account. But it seems to me like he may have never set up an account to pay his water bill ever. 15,000 in water bill, a water bill, the school is not being used, so there shouldn't be any water running for real. So if what I'm assuming is, this is what I'm assuming. I don't know because he didn't explain why his water bill was so high or any of his fees got so high. What I'm assuming is he bought this largely discounted property and it had fees associated with it already before he purchased it. And it was just understood that you inherit those fees. Some of these government fees, you inherit them and you got to pay them once it becomes your property. Now, I don't know if that's what happened because normally they'll handle that at the sale, but you never know. This could be rollover because this has been an inoperable school building. So why would there be $15,000 or $17,000 worth of water bills? The only thing I can think of is these are water bills from before he was the owner and they stick with the property. Whoever owns the property, it's on them to pay it now. So I'm assuming that whoever he used to purchase this property didn't explain to him how you clear up past debts with the property or anything like that. But so him saying that he wasn't notified, I have a hard time believing that. Right. And this is not me breaking this down just to say he was lying about everything and I don't believe anything. I just don't believe he wasn't notified.
Without an email, this past weekend, without a letter in the mail, this past weekend, without a phone call, the city of Wilmington put a notice on the door handle of both of our schools, informing me that if we don't pay the past due vacant property registration fees and outstanding utilities by the 25th of Black August, they will sell our campus. Brothers and sisters, can I ask you a question? Why were we not notified that they were going to try to sell our campus?
When you say, why were we not notified? That paper that they put on your door, that was your notification. You owning a school building for the last 6 years and not paying any utility bills, what notice did you need? At any point, did it click in the head to say, I've been owning this thing all this time. I never paid the water bill before. Did it ever click to you to say, I might owe something? A recurring bill that normally comes in every single property in America. I might owe something here. Well, every property that's on city sewage and water. I might owe something. Nothing ever clicked in the head to say that. So this tells me he did not have a facilities expert on staff. There was no facilities experts on that staff at all. I don't think there was a staff. I'm going to be real. I think he had some people that gave regular donations that he, would consult with sometimes because they gave donations and he wanted to make them feel special. So they would keep giving donations. I don't think there has never been another person to come out and speak on behalf of this school in a way that it says they're on the team with him. Not a lawyer hasn't spoken out for him. whatever administration that works with him, no secretaries, no assistants. It seems to be that the only time we see videos of people in this building, they are contractors interfacing directly with him, or there are like donors that are doing a tour of the building. I've never seen a team or staff or anything like that. So he definitely does not have facilities management as part of his budget for this schooling yet.
Brothers and sisters, why are they trying to sell our campus at the very moment that our accounts are frozen? Brothers and sisters, is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that the city of Wilmington is trying to sell properties that we own and have been working on continuously behind our backs? They were going to sell our schools behind our backs. They didn't even tell us that they were going to try to sell our schools. We received no notice in the mail. We received no notice by email. We received no phone calls at all that they were going to try to sell our schools. Instead, they put a notice on the door handle.
When they get to the point of putting notices on the building itself, that usually means they have tried to reach out to the address or the contact info on record and have not gotten any response for a long time. I don't know if Umar knows this, but they'll put a notice on the door to knock a building down. They're not going to, I mean, how many times do they think they're supposed to send that out? They'll put it right on the door. Well, this is set to be demolished on this date. This property is condemned and not habitable for humans. This can't be a residence. This is an inhabitable building. They put that stuff. This is how the city operates. This is how the states operate, counties, whatever. They will put that thing right on the front door and they won't tell anybody. You know what I'm saying? So, and they normally do stuff like that because either the property is vacant and they can't reach anybody, or whoever the owner is has been non-responsive. That's pretty much everywhere, not just in Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware. That's pretty much everywhere.
Somebody stole one set of notifications and sent it to the YouTubian struggle streamers. Somebody stole the Frederick Douglass High School paperwork off the front door and sent it to the struggle streamers. But luckily for us, Sister Ra Ebony was able to get the paperwork off the Marcus Garvey School before the haters stole that paperwork. I believe, brothers and sisters, and please let me know your opinion. I believe, brothers and sisters, and please let me know your opinion. I believe, brothers and sisters, and please let me know your opinion. I believe that they were going to sell the school, and they wanted to sell the school before we found out. I believe that they wanted to sell the school before we found out. We were not supposed to know that they were going to sell our school. Why do I say that? We were given no notification. We received no letter in the mail. We received no email. We received no phone call that they were going to try to sell our schools. Instead, they put a notice on the door in a low-income neighborhood. They put a notice on the door with rubber band and masking tape. They put a notice on the school front door with a rubber band and masking tape.
Okay. It's just interesting to me. I don't know what he thought would be happening here. It's like it's a few things here, right? So, one, his ignorance of property management. That's first. The ignorance of property management. He thought that he could buy a property, own it, and just own it indefinitely without. He's just thinking like, I just own it, so I don't have to pay anything until I'm ready to. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't have to pay anything until I'm ready, right? The fact that that's what he thought as a 40-something-year-old man is a little bit alarming. However, that's what he thought, clearly, right? So he was unreachable by the county and the city because they were trying to reach him to tell him, hey, you owe money. And one thing I know that we know for sure, these for like utilities and stuff like that, especially with water, because it's a direct city utility. It's not company owned. It's a city thing. They're going to send the bill directly to the property. But if you're traveling all over the world constantly as the most requested speaker in the Black consciousness movement, if you're traveling all over the world and you don't trust anybody else to be at that school every day, collecting mail, reading through things, going through everything, managing the construction for you, if you don't trust anybody else, and I'm assuming that you are not reading the mail either, Because if you were reading the mail, you wouldn't be saying that they didn't give you a notification, because you probably got the first notifications back in 2019 or 20 or 21. You're not reading the mail and you don't trust anybody else to do it, then it gets to this point here and you're confused about it. It's largely because you had no clue what was going on with that building. Now, where I think Umar went wrong is this, right? We got another video here. And this is a conversation that Dr. Umar Johnson was having with Lord Jamar a couple years ago. Let me play this.
You don't open up a school in a year or two. I don't know your brother's story, and I don't care to know it. I don't care to know it.
Why not, though? If it could be helpful to you, why wouldn't you care to know it if it could be helpful to you?
Brother, I have friends who own schools. Do you understand that? I have friends who own schools. So if I need to talk to someone who owns a school, I already got that. I got what I need.
Now, by the way, keep in mind, this was Lord Jamar. Lord Jamar is up in the same like general area, the Northeast, same area. I think Lord Jamar is in New Jersey and Umar is in Delaware. These states are next to each other, or New Jersey is north of Delaware, right? He was trying to offer help. He was saying like, I have people with schools that can like help you get what you need so that you can get the school open. And this is how Umar's responded to it, pretty much telling him, I don't need your help.
The only thing missing from my equation is enough funds to complete the task.
Now we can look at Umar's hair right here and tell this is a couple years ago. We can also look at the fact that they're on a Zoom call for a podcast. Zoom calls on podcasts blew up during the pandemic because people didn't need to be around each other like that. So I'm assuming this is around 2020, 2021, something like that, right?
That's it. That's it. The school is not open yet because I don't have enough funds to do it that way. I'm not going to no bank.
Maybe we need fundraising, different fundraising methods. Maybe the people that we go to.
We have that in place, but what I want you to understand, it takes time to build institutions. I ain't got no problem with where we are. I'm loving where we at. We got our plans done by the engineer. We got our electrician chosen. I'm meeting with my HVAC this weekend. I got my plumber on standby. Roofer did his job. Carpenter lined up. We doing what we need to do on the time frame we doing it in. I don't need no help outside of the team I got, which is filled with experts.
Okay. Another lie was spotted. I don't need no help outside of the team I got, which is filled with experts. That's a lie. There are no experts on that team. I don't think he has a team. I have not heard of a team. He has not named any of these people. I don't think he has a team. He is trying to be the general contractor, the dean of the school, the curriculum writer of the school. He's trying to do he's trying to do the main teacher. He's trying to do every single piece, the fundraising. He's trying to do every single thing about this school by himself. And this is why he's yelling at Lord Jamar saying, I don't need your help. Now, keep in mind, Lord Jamar is a celebrity, right? Maybe C-list, whatever celebrity. He could help him. He could help him with fundraising. Lord Jamar knows a lot of rich people because he's in the music industry as from a legendary group in hip hop. And this man is telling him, I don't want your help. I don't need your help. I know you have connections, but I don't care about your connections. I got my own connections. That's what Umar is telling a hip hop artist. And that's Rod Digger is also on here, who was part of Flip Mode Records. These people have access to other people with money. And this is him turning down the assistance. Even when Lord Jamar is saying, well, maybe we need better fundraising. Umar is saying, no, I don't need better fundraising. It's going to take time. And I'm cool with it taking time. I have the electricians. I have the, by the way, he had been saying that he had this electrician stuff going, like electricity issue that he needed help with from a contractor for years. All the way up until now, he still keeps on saying the electrician is coming, the HVAC is coming, the plumbing is coming. So it doesn't. This is one thing. I don't work on the manual labor side of commercial construction. I work on the sales side of commercial construction, and I've been working on the sales and technician side on commercial construction for the last 10 years, decade. It takes maybe a few weeks to get permits, right? Maybe a few weeks, and that's if you. You know what I mean? You could push it through if you got somebody on the inside, right? A few weeks to get permits. And then maybe for a commercial building like that, it might take a little bit longer to get inspected. But we talking about a matter of weeks or months, right? Nothing about what he's been describing needs to be done at that school takes years. Not a single part of it. Once you get an electrician in to get a quote, and once you get a permit, and once you get that electrician paid so that they can start doing the work will likely take a few days to complete, right? Nothing about this school is extraordinarily out of place. It's just that the person attempting to be the general contractor does not know anything about commercial construction. He doesn't know anything about renovating buildings, right? I think Dr. Umar knows a whole lot about young boys, ADHD, mental health issues, education system, all this type of stuff, right? But the thing that he's working on right now don't really have anything to do with the stuff that like his end goal. Right now, everything that all the issues he's running into all are related to construction and trade management or general contracting, right? So all his expertise in the school system cannot help him in this arena. And it shows in the fact that he's about to lose his buildings now that he paid millions of dollars for and used all these people's money. Now, I seen that comment that said Umar is scamming, right? If first of all, I will say this: if Umar was scamming or if this was a fraud, like a fraud scheme, it would have been so that he would have been in jail already. He would have already been in prison because they would have indicted him years ago. So I don't believe that Umar was taking people's money to willingly do something else with the money, like do something other than try to open a school. I'm one of the people that believes he actually was taking the money and trying to get a school open. I just think he didn't know what he was doing. Right. And also the fact that he hasn't been indicted for this tells me that, I believe that the government has looked into his finances already. They already can see he's getting money for XYZ and he's actually using it on what he said he was using it on. If you look at Umar's videos, he's always somewhere that looks dirty and low budget. He's never in a nice looking car. He's never in a nice looking area. Umar doesn't live like a lot of the people that they call scammers. That's not to say he wasn't scamming. That's not to say he didn't just take all his money and withdraw it from a bank and take it in cash and bury it somewhere to come back to later. He could have done that. But nothing about what we see from Umar tells us that he stole that money to go do anything else with it besides try to open these schools up, right? What it looks like is just horrendous money management. That's, to me, that's what it looks like, right? I supported Umar in the way that he would articulate his points and his visions about where things should be going. But I would never give money to him because if I'm gonna donate to something, I'll donate like food to the homeless, stuff like that. I'll cook food, give it to the homeless. Or if you're standing on the side of the road and you need some cash, stuff like that. But when it comes to these causes, I don't just donate to causes like that. It needs to sound like a business proposal to me for me to donate to it. And plus, I don't know anybody to start a school and be like, yo, let me get donations for it. Right. The people that start schools just start schools. So I'm thinking like if you're telling us that you have the expertise to be able to pull a project off like this, then I don't know why you are trying to do it through donation money. So I was never going to give money to that. Shout out to the people that did, but he was never getting $1 from me for that. But I did support the message though. The message, the self-reliance, you understand, the taking over our education, making sure I supported all that. But I never thought they needed a $2 million large facility that used to be a high school or something like that. You could start one of these schools just the way most of these other schools have started throughout Black history in America, which is in small school buildings. Like they would take little, small storefronts, and they would take a building the size of like a daycare or something like that, or an old rundown. You might even take you might run into an old church that's been abandoned and vacant, and you purchase a church, turn that into a school. Yeah, like a small church or whatever. Or you get enough money and you build yourself a little 5,000 square foot facility with different rooms and things like that so that you can get started. Everything needs to start from a small place. Not everything, but when you don't have any funding and you're doing grassroots fundraising and stuff like that, you need to start small. Attempting to buy a building that was formerly owned and operated by the state of Delaware in their school system. Do you know how many millions of dollars it takes to run these school systems? He has 50 to 100 rooms in them, and they have teachers in all of them, and electricity and all. This plan was never thought out right from the beginning. He should have had a place the size of a church. He should have had a place the size of a church for like a small church, not even a big church, a small church to get it started. I think he should have had a place that was maybe at max no more than 8 to 10,000 square feet, no more than that. When you're starting out with that little of money. Let's finish listening to this.
From the East Coast to the West Coast, brother.
Okay, brother. I mean, these are definitely the answers that people want to know. They want to.
I'm not interested in people. I'm interested in donors, brother.
Yeah, but in order for you to get donors, though, you're gonna have to satisfy these. Yes, brother. And how you gonna get donors if you don't if I'm
disagree with you?
Listen. If I'm considering to be a donor, but I have certain questions that I want answered, I feel like that's legitimate.
Can I tell you why that's bullshit?
Why? Go ahead, please.
Respectfully.
Respectfully.
You've been raising money for 6.5 years, brother. If you ain't doing up by now, you ain't donating, and your question don't matter.
Okay, that's that. Now that's even the biggest issue right there. So that tells me that he had his pocket. Let me play it again, just so you make sure that everybody heard what I heard. All right.
Legitimate.
Can I tell you why that's bullshit?
Why?
Can I?
Go ahead, please.
Respectfully.
Respectfully.
You've been raising money for 6.5 years, brother. If you ain't doing up by now, you ain't donating, and your question don't matter.
Okay, this is what I heard, right? This tells me that he had a segment of his fan base that had been donating regularly for the last 10 years, essentially, because this is a few years ago and he said 6 years, right? This tells me that he had a segment of his fan base that was donating regularly, and he has not been able to convert new donors in a long time, which means he has been draining the same people over and over and over again, just draining that same group of people over and over. And now look, all of these people have funded him. That's whatever that same group of people, they have funded this project. And now they're about to lose all their money without being able to see anything fruitful come from it. It's sad when you just shut down. You're shutting down anybody who might have any type of critique or pushback for the project that you're trying to do, even though they might be able to help. If you don't want any pushback, then you're pretty much shutting them down. Okay, I understand the whole idea of, okay, we don't want any white donors. We don't want no white money. We don't want institutional money, right? But he alienated most of the black people that would have questions or critiques for him, instead of just answering the questions and critiques. What's wrong with them saying, why is it taking you so long to get an electrician out there? You can't say we're working on it. That's not, you don't say we're working on it for 5 years. There's no way. Don't work like that. I mean, it might work like that for you and your donors because you kept getting money from them, but it's not normally, it don't make sense. So shout out to Umar, but it looks like the end is here. Now, I will say the end is near. The end is here. I don't think it was fraud, though, because I think he used the money for what he said he was going to use the money for. He failed. It's a failed project, not a scam. To me, that's how I think people use the word scam a lot because they don't realize that that's a crime. But I don't see it as a scam. I see it as a failed attempt to open a school. You see what I'm saying? And hopefully he'll go forward and keep on doing what he's doing when it comes to speaking engagements, and maybe he consults for other people that have schools and tells them and helps write curriculums and stuff like that. But it looks like to me just a failed project. That's all. People fail at things all the time. It's nothing really to harp on, in my opinion. But for the people getting their jokes off, you know what I mean? Get your jokes off is fire. Fire, funny, all that. So y'all let me know what y'all think about Umar and his failed school project, because he has 10 days now to get 76. By the way, the money that he owes, like the back money that he owes, he has raised that much money a few times over, many times over, 10 times over, at least 20 times over. Right. So the fact that you are about to lose this school over $76,000 when you raised millions of dollars, poor money management, horrible money management. Now, we don't get to the debate of the week early because this is something that's going on. This is like a show based on a show that's very viral in certain pockets of the American population. Right. I got put onto the show by Shay. She put me onto the show, told me, yo, check this joint out. So we started watching the joint. It's called The Gilded Age, right? The Gilded Age on HBO. It's a show about late 1800s rich white people in New York City, right? When they was just building up societies of levels of society, high class society in New York City, right? Vacation in the Newport, Connecticut, just real money going on, right? Just talking about legacy families versus people who just got money from starting successful businesses, how they look at you, who's acceptable in the society, all this type of stuff, right? So there is a storyline going on where there's a young man who was like a butler. He was a footman, but he's kind of like a butler, if you don't know about these titles, right? He's like a young butler, probably like late teens, something like that. Very young dude. And he was tinkering with an alarm clock, right? The alarm clock wasn't working. He's tinkering with it, trying to figure out why it's not working, how he can make it work. And he stumbles upon something that does not exist, AKA he invented something, right? So he invented a little piece to go inside a clock to help it spin without getting stuck, not needing certain oils and all this type of stuff, right? He invented it. He needs to get a patent, right? He tries to get a patent. He's shut down because they say, hey, you're not part of the Clockmakers Association, whatever it's called, right? You're not part of the Clockmakers Association. So he's bummed out. One of his mentors, the main butler, has a connection that can help him become a member of the Clockmakers Society, right? So he gets in there, and now the Patent and Trademark Office, they're like, okay, cool. It's going to be about $40 to get you a patent. Now, $40 in the 1800s for a butler, that's a whole lot of money. He didn't have that money. So everybody in the family pitched in. All the other house workers, they pitched in. And even the people who he worked for in the home, they pitched in also. Got the money together, put the patent application in. He was granted the patent, right? Now remember, this is around like 1890. A patent for a new device or a new component that goes into a watch or clock to help it spin perpetually. Bear with me, I'm getting there. Right. So he invents this thing. Now it's time to figure out, how can I make money from this invention? He tells one of the people he works for, right, of the family that he works for, he tells him, hey, I need help with this thing. I got my patent. The lady says, hey, I have somebody that can help you out. He's the man that I can get to help you out is the son of a very, very, very wealthy man. The son's name is Larry, right? The man who invented the young man who invented the new component for the clock, his name is Jack. So Jack and Larry, they partner up, and now it's Larry's turn to help Jack sell this component to a watch business or a clock company. Takes him to a bunch of meetings. He gets turned down a lot. Nobody's interested in it. Then they finally get a meeting where a company who was kind of interested in it, but they're not really rocking with it. So Jack says, hey, I'll leave my clock here with you. You can test it overnight, test it over the next couple of days. And just, hey, if it doesn't work for you, that's fine. Just give it back, please. That's my only version of it. They say, all right, whatever. We'll test it out. We'll check it out. Right. They leave. About a week passes. They get called back to the office. They say, hey, we want to meet with you, right? So they get in a meeting. Long story shorter, they get in a meeting, and the company is like, hey, we will offer you, I forget what the number, they probably said 400, right? They used the word like 400 or 300, whatever they said. We'll offer you 400 for it, right? Larry, being the businessman, the son of the very rich man, Larry Russell says, no, we can't take 400. We need 600. The businessmen, they sit back, they look around, they look at each other, and they say, okay, 600. Do we have a deal? Everybody says, yeah, cool, 600. So then Jack is a butler, right? He's a young footman. He does not know what's going on because he's never been in any type of room like this. So he said 600. He said, cool, okay. Well, we got $600. That's nice. He said, no, 600,000. And then Jack is like completely stunned. He has no concept of this type of money. Most people don't, because that's an enormous amount of money at the time. That's a lot of money now. But back in those days, I looked it up. About 600,000 at that time is equivalent of like 20 million right now. Right. So he got an enormous amount of money, and he didn't invent a clock. He invented a little piece that goes inside a clock. So that's just to let you understand. Like, so imagine inventing a little spring that goes in the clock. You get 20 million up front, right? And you never have to produce any of your own parts. You have to just sell the patent to somebody else. So this is what happens. Here's where the debate of the week comes in. I had to give you all of that backstory for people who have not seen it, right? And you can fact check me on the number that that company started out with. I'm saying 400 because I don't remember the number, but it was a number lower than 600, right? The debate comes in. So Larry Russell, the son of the very rich man, tells Jack, hey, you good, you set for life, whatever. What are you going to, he's like, you're going to get 300,000. I'm going to get 300,000. Right. So they're splitting it 50-50. Now, a lot of people feel like Larry took way too big of a percentage. He took 50% from him. And that's too much. Right. So here's the debate of the week. How much is a fair percentage for the businessman to take in a scenario like this? Right. So it is, do you think 50% is fair? If not, why not? And what's a fair percentage for the split for those two? All right. So let me structure the question a little bit better. Okay. So should Larry have taken 50% of the deal? If not, why not? And what's a more acceptable percentage? That's the debate of the week. Now, normally in the debate of the week, I haven't been giving my thoughts on it, but because I've seen this show and I do have thoughts on it, I say 50% is a fair percentage. I'm going to tell you why. First of all, let me tell you what people normally do in those situations. People that are in the Larry Russell, the rich person scenario, situation or position, when they see a young, poor inventor, what they'll normally do is they will see the value and they will know they have the connections to sell that product for a much higher price. They will buy it off that person. They'll buy it off that poor person by themselves for just a low amount of money, right? So he knows that it's worth 600. What he would do is Larry Russell would go to Jack and say, hey, I'll give you $1,000 for that. And guess what? $1,000 was worth a whole lot of money back in those days. Plus, he was a butler. He would have accepted that. He would have took $1,000 for that thing. He would have never known what Larry went off and sold it for later. That's what a lot of times, especially back in those days, the rich person would just buy it from you for a very low amount and then take it and go do something else with it. Right. Larry didn't do that. He said, it's your invention. You can keep your invention, whatever. I'm going to take you in these business meetings with me. You can meet these people. You can present the product to them. And if it fails, it fails. But if it doesn't, it will be because of your hard work and my connections. Right. So I don't think that people place high enough value on business connections. Like, you can invent something. If you don't have a way to get in the door to present it to the people who could buy it. Like, let's just say somebody today, right now, invented a new way for watches to move, right? New motion for watches. If you don't have a way to get the Cartier, if you don't have a way to get the Rolex, if you don't have a way to get the Audemars, if you don't have a way to get to Timex, like executives, if you don't have a way to get to, Movado, if you don't have a way to get in front of these people, how will you ever get it sold? You pretty much be stuck trying to produce your own watches just so you can sell your product. And it's likely that you'll go broke before you ever produce a single watch. Right. So whoever that person is that's able to walk you into Rolex to get that thing sold for $10 million or $20 million or whatever like that, they deserve they deserve equity, large piece of equity too. Now in modern day, because of the way greed is set up and all that type of stuff, or because of the mindset of people today, a lot of people don't see the value in the person that actually walks you into that door, right? Back in those days, and in the show, Jack was extremely happy to do that 50% split. He didn't care. Not that he didn't care, but he was happy. He never batted an eye at it, because that means 300,000 is coming to him, which was about $10 million at that time. Right? He didn't bat an eye at it. It's the fans that watched the show that felt like that was too much. Right? Modern day, if you run into a person, you have an invention, and this is the reason why people will put somebody into a contract before they even introduce them to somebody else. Right? Larry didn't even put Jack in a contract. But nowadays, somebody would say, hey, if I'm going to take you to Rolex, I need part of the deal right now. Like, no matter what the deal is, I need you to agree up front what you're going to give me right now. And that's how they work these days, because people don't see the value and because if they don't say that ahead of time, the person with the invention these days will try not to pay them at all, because they will completely devalue what it means for somebody to go walk you into a room with Rolex or walk you into a room with Movado or Timex. Like, even if it's not, even if it's not a Hublot or something like that, Hublot probably don't make more money than Timex. I'm just guessing. They don't sell enough watches to make more money than Timex, right? So it's not about the prestigious company. It's about who can walk you into a room with executives that can give you that type of money. So that's the debate of the week. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. We are rolling along. It took me 40 minutes to get through 2 topics. It's crazy. 40 minutes to get through 2 topics, and we got more. We got 2 more. Y'all mind if we talk about HBCUs? Whether you mind or not, that's what we're talking about. And this is what I feel. This is what came upon me, what I felt like I needed to disseminate to the world, right? It hit me that there are so many veterans in this country, right? Like veterans that have been modern veterans, right? People that are recently released from the military. I'll say released. They have been recently discharged from the military within the last 10 to 15 years, right? A lot of them. But what I don't see a lot of is the HBCUs catering to and marketing to in any significant way all those veterans for online schooling. All those veterans for online schooling. Right. To me, it is very interesting that that these schools are looking for ways to get more money. They're looking for ways to keep their doors open. But yet there has not been a whole lot of significant investment in online bachelor's degrees, certificates, associates, masters, doctorate from the HBCUs. Right. Now, let me pull up something real quick, because we're going to talk about how many veterans are out here, right? This is just so we can get just sheer volume and understanding of the potential dollars out here, right? And the reason I want to talk about this is because this is essentially free money. It's just unlimited money damn near, because the government is paying for veterans to go to school. Excuse me. Paying for veterans to go to school, right? Let's just read this article before we get into the schools. The changing face of America's veteran population, right? Today, there are more than 18 million living veterans in the United States, representing about 6% of the country's adult population. Now, keep in mind, veterans get free schooling. Now, some of those veterans are from a time where, the college benefits weren't really there like that, right? So when we talk about college benefits, we're looking at really Montgomery GI Bill and post 9/11 GI Bill and everything forward from there, right? So we're talking about essentially Gulf War veterans and forward, right? Late 80s, early 90s and forward. Let's read it. Veterans who served in the last 30 years make up the largest number of living veterans, according to the population model estimates from the VA. Veterans from the Gulf War era, which spans from August 1990 through present, surpassed Vietnam-era veterans in 2016. Veterans who served in multiple eras are counted only in the earliest one. Okay, so you see this chart here, right? Now they give an estimate of also what they think the numbers will look like in 2048. Okay. So, let's read here. The population estimates for 2023 show 7.8 million living U.S. veterans, or 43% served in the Gulf War era. 5.6 million living veterans served in Vietnam. Okay, these are, all right, so let's look at this, right? Let's look at this chart here. Oh, what? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, here we go. Let's look at this chart here. So if you can see here, right, the Gulf War and forward, 43% and then going forward, another 22%. So we are looking at 65% of U.S. veterans are getting either Montgomery GI Bill or post 9/11 GI Bill. When I'm using these terms, these are like military veteran terms, but they're just college benefits where the government will pay for your whole schooling, right? So, and these are the era of people that are still kind of in and out of the college system, right? A lot of people that were in the Gulf War, they're in their 50s right now. There's some of them are still going back to school too, and they have those benefits. And then you have the people from pretty much Iraq War and forward, and even the people from peacetime, right? And then look at 2048, right? This is the estimate, 2048. By the time 2048 gets here, 97% of all veterans will be from the Montgomery GI Bill up to post 9/11 GI Bill and forward, meaning they'll all be eligible for advanced college payment, right? Free college. Let's look at the ages. Right now, 28% are younger than 50 years old, right? So 28% of 18 million, right? So that's a little bit less than 6 million people. 36% between 50 and 69. So once you get in that age range, you're not really looking at people. They're not going to be going to college too much. And then 37% above 70, they're not going to go to college at all, right? By the time you get to 2048, they're expecting 34% to be under 50 and 33 to be between 50 and 69. Here's another good one that we need to look at, the race. Currently, 13% of all those veterans, which is 13% of that 18 million, which is what? 13% of 18 million is like 1.8 million plus 180,000 times 3. I'm doing some weird math in my head. So that's like what's this? Hold on, let me look up real quick so I can do that math. 540 plus 1.8 is like, so that's like 2.3 million veterans that are black, right? 2.3 million. Now, we look at like the totality of the American population, that does not seem like a big number. But when you start talking about dividing that up amongst what's possible for college enrollment and applications and things like that, that's a massive number to be an influx in the HBCUs, right? So we're looking at, and then there's like 1.3 million active duty people, right? Now keep in mind, on active duty, you don't even have to use your post 9/11 or any of your GI bills. That's for when you get out. They have what's called tuition assistance, and they also pay for your school. Your school will be completely free when you're active duty also. So I feel like we need the HBCU circuit and the HBCUs to really start pushing for veterans to come to their schools, because this is massive amount of free money, right? The share of the U.S. population will go down. Okay, 18%. Okay. So yeah, it's going down. Active duty is going down. The VA projects that the number of living veterans will continue to decline over the next 25 years. The department estimates that the number of veterans will drop from today's 18.3 million, that was in 2023, to 12.1 million in 2048, right? So yes, the numbers will definitely go down because a lot of them will pass away because a lot of them are old, from Vietnam era, like we just seen in that chart. 37% are over 70 right now. So a lot of them will be dead, right? You see that? 37% are above. And actually the largest share currently of veterans are older than 70 years old. So that's, a lot of them won't be here. That's why that number is dropping by $6 million people, right? They're estimating that the total of the share of black people will increase from 13 to 15% over the next 20 years. So there's a smaller total number, but the percentage of black vets will be higher, which we're talking about total numbers here, right? So what I'm getting at is here, this is the gateway. This is the ticket, right? This is the ticket forward for HBCUs. there's 2.3 million black veterans out there. Let's read this. And HBCUs are already extremely popular right now. Let's read this one here. Let's read this one. Some HBCUs are seeing enrollment surges. Here's why. Now, this is from March of last year, March of 2024, but I'm still going to read it because it's valid information. Interest in attending Morgan State University, a historically black college in Baltimore, has reached historic highs over the past few years. Since 2018, the public university saw its enrollment surge 27%, with 9,800 students attending the institution this past fall. The university has set its sights on reaching 10,000 students by 2030, said Kyla Granville, Morgan State's director of undergraduate admissions. Now, you know how easy they can get to 10,000 if they started like doing, when I say promoting to military, I'm talking about commercials and everything. Like we've been seeing commercials for University of Phoenix since I was a kid, right? We've been seeing them commercials all over the place. They should be advertising the same exact way. Blitz them. They need to be at these military bases and all that, right? Granville credited the university's growth to its recent move to the Common Application, which houses a single online form used to apply to over 1,000 member institutions. Okay. She also pointed to the university's aggressive student retention policies and being a mid-sized institution near Washington, D.C. Many of Morgan State students hail from out the state. Shout out to my little cousin, Mark. He just graduated from Morgan State earlier this year. So shout out to Morgan State. I rocks with them. But other HBCUs are seeing similar growth, bucking the enrollment. The enrollment decreases experienced at colleges and universities throughout the country in recent years. HBCUs nationwide saw enrollment growth in fall 2021 and fall 2022, even as students' headcount sank across the country. According to data from the National Student Clearinghouse Research Center, overall enrollment dipped at HBCUs in fall 2023, though the research center's executive director noted that fewer of them provided data in time to be reflected in the final count. Among the institutions that have seen enrollment surge in the nation's largest HBCU, North Carolina A&T University, its enrollment reached 13,883 students in fall 2023, an increase of nearly 3% compared to the previous academic year. Others included Howard University, Delaware State, North Carolina Central University, Wilberforce University, and the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore. HBCU leaders seeing these headcount increases credit several reasons for them. Many point to internal policies and practices, such as new retention and recruitment efforts and academic support for incoming students for their recent success. Some HBCUs. Now, I will say, when we talk about them trying to get their enrollment up, right? Going the military route, right? Going with military veterans and really attacking that market and trying to market to them and try to bring them in is a way to increase enrollment, get guaranteed pay, right? Because the government is paying for sure. And also not have to increase the footprint of your campus. Because most of these military people don't want to go to on campus. They want to be online, right? So you need to make sure you have a robust online program, right? A lot of HBCUs do not have a robust online program. And many of them that do have one don't even advertise the military at all. It's kind of just like they just have it on their website somewhere. And if you see it, you see it. If you know about it, you know about it. But they're not really pushing like that, right? They're not really pushing like that. But we're going to get to that. Students witnessed racial disparities in health outcomes during the coronavirus pandemic and saw protests erupt over police brutality deaths following the deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Now students are navigating how colleges will assess their applications following the Supreme Court's ruling last year banning race-conscious admissions policies, said Granville. Due to these developments, students are seeking institutions that will allow them to be their full selves from racial and ethnic standpoint, something HBCUs have historically provided to the academic benefit of their students. I'll keep in mind that this was also written at the beginning of last year, right? Biden was the president. They didn't know any of the stuff that Trump was doing, dismantling all this type of stuff, right? So these HBCUs will have to get very creative in there. And also I've been talking about black military veterans going to HBCUs. honestly, if you want to get the real funding, you got to attack veterans of all races, really, because the cultural component is mainly on campus, right? The online learning is just the online learning. Like if I want to go to school for computer science, Morgan State should be a viable option for everybody. You want it to be a viable. It's still going to be an HBCU, right? But you want everybody coming there to your online school though. There's a lot of money in that, and you will have one of the better programs. You want all of these schools to be looked at for these reasons and for these programs. Racial tensions spark enrollment growth. In general, the enrollment increase has been driven by historically black colleges' ability to take students who are diverse in their academic backgrounds, worldviews, and college aspirations. Okay. Let's see here. Interest surrounding HBCUs swelled in 2020 when protests swelled following the police killings of Floyd and Taylor. Those events elevated racial tensions in the U.S. and placed a spotlight on the importance of HBCUs, which have historically served as an important catalyst of the black middle class, said Harry Williams, president and CEO of Thurgood Marshall College Fund. Since then, tens of millions of dollars in new funding has poured into historically black colleges through the HBCU Transformation Project, a project launched in 2020 that aims to help institutions grow enrollment and improve graduation rates. The Transformation Project is led by a group of organizers that support HBCUs, including the United Negro College Fund, or UNCF, and the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. Institutions also received an influx of pandemic relief money from the federal government and philanthropic donations from celebrities, companies, and billionaire philanthropists, including Mackenzie Scott, former Netflix CEO Reed Hastings, and his wife, Patty Quillen. The excitement for HBCU right now is at an all-time. Oh, sorry, I'm tripping. And his wife, and then producer Patty Quillen, or his wife is the producer, Patty Quillen. I don't know how they worded that. I'm assuming his wife is the producer. Okay. The excitement for HBCUs right now is at an all-time high. The interest is at an all-time high. All right. So now let's give credit to the good HBCUs, right? Because some of them do have great online programs. Let's pull them up, right? Let's pull them up and let's read. By the way, in researching this is where I found out that North Carolina A&T had the largest enrollment of any HBCU in the country. I didn't realize that they were the biggest, but it kind of feel like the biggest. I went to North Carolina A&T's homecoming back in the day, and it for sure was cracking, and it was people everywhere. Like it was a lot of people, and it was very different when I went to like I've been around Hampton and Norfolk State and all that, and Howard and all that. It felt different. North Carolina A&T like filled up the whole city of Greensboro with people from their homecoming. Like it wasn't just isolated. Like it was everywhere. Top historically black colleges and universities for online school. This is very important. We want to pay attention, especially my military people. You got money, because I definitely want to. If I'm able to get my military benefits restored, I definitely want to go HBCU, the HBCU route, and I want to for sure figure that out. So let's look at the schools. So they're telling you this is like an article. So why choose an HBCU for your online education? Supportive, culturally affirming community, strong alumni networks and leadership opportunities, affordability and financial support, career outcomes and upward mobility, legacy, pride, and mission-driven education. And then here are the top 10 HBCUs for online students. And of course, number one is the largest at North Carolina A&T State University, right? So shout out to North Carolina A&T. Let's read a little bit. North Carolina A&T in Greensboro is the nation's largest HBCU and leader in online education. This public research university offers 10 fully online bachelor programs and 10 online graduate programs, including master's and even doctoral programs across disciplines. Furthermore, they have 3 online certificate options as well. The cost of attendance for North Carolina residents is $120 per credit hour for both continuing and incoming students. For out-of-state students, the price will land at $588 per credit hour. Online students at North Carolina A&T will receive the same access to support services as on-campus students, working with faculty that strive to help you succeed. Shout out to North Carolina A&T. Major, they have 10 online bachelors and 10 online graduate programs, and they even have certificate options, 3 of them. That's amazing. Hampton University, Shout out to them, private school. A prestigious private HBCU in Virginia, Hampton University brings its standard of excellence to the online arena. Hampton's online division offers programs at every level: certificate, associate, bachelor's, master's, and even doctorate. Now, this is what I think is very important. I think they're the only ones that have all of this, right? Certificate, associates, bachelor's, master's, and doctorate, right? Because we just read North Carolina A&T, they didn't have any associates program. They had certificate, but I think they should have something at every level, right? I think all these schools should have something at every level because you want to hit all the markets, right? You want to be able to touch everybody. You want everybody to be able to access your school. Hampton's online courses blend flexibility with personal attention. Class sizes are kept small, and the professors and advisors are readily available via email or video meetings. As a private institution, tuition is around $26,000 a year for undergraduates, and Hampton offers robust financial aid and scholarships. Military and veteran students also get dedicated support. This is big. This is big. This is like military, like University of Phoenix. They have a whole group of people that just are experts in dealing with veterans and getting that VA, getting that post 9/11 VA stuff going. That's what a school should be having. That's where the money is at, right? Hampton is fine. Like, I lived down the street from Hampton before back in the day, and it was completely fine. They had no issues, no worries. There was no like, oh, we're about to be closing Hampton down. We need to raise money. Like, no, Hampton has plenty of money, and it's because they have good people running it. Clearly, I mean, I have to see what programs they have, but reading this, they probably are not number one, maybe because it's expensive and it's private. But I like their, programs on paper anyway, more than North Carolina A&T. Of course, I didn't look at what programs they're offering, but certificate, associates, bachelor's, master's, doctorate, and then they have dedicated military and veteran support. I mean, come on. Let's go to North Carolina Central. So the Mid-Atlantic is tearing it up, right? This is 2 in North Carolina and 1 in Virginia in the top 3. North Carolina Central University in Durham is a public HBCU. The online offers a variety of accredited undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs with convenience and prestige. As part of the UNC system, NCCU provides high-quality instruction and rigorous curricula. Whether you study online or in person, the online format is flexible. You can often study asynchronously, making it ideal for working professionals or parents finishing a degree. Each online student is assigned an academic advisor, and faculty are known to be responsive mentors. Tuition for NC residents sits around $3,700 for in-state undergrad tuition. Then Jackson State. I went to Jackson State's website and looked at their online program. They got a bunch of programs on there for real. A bunch of different, good programs. Jackson State is a top-tier public HBCU in Mississippi that delivers a robust online education through JSU Online. JSU Online features a wide variety of programs. You can complete undergraduate degrees like BA in History, BBA in Business Administration, or BS in Criminal Justice entirely online. At the graduate level, offerings include the MBA, Master of Arts in Teaching, Master of Public Health, Master of Social Work, and even Education Specialists. Programs in areas like school counseling. Okay. The online courses are designed by the same departments that teach on campus, ensuring academic rigor. The university offers virtual tutoring, advising, and tech support to online learners. Tuition is relatively affordable as JSU is a public institution with costs currently about $385 per credit for undergraduate courses. Financial aid. So, I'm telling y'all, check out Jackson. So Jackson State and FAMU, I went to both of their websites. They got a lot of programs, cool programs that you would actually want, not just some random stuff that you like. You know what I'm saying? I do see they have Bachelor in Arts up here, but no, they don't even. Oh, yeah. Master in Arts. Wait. One of these schools had a Bachelor in Arts. Okay, cool. You could do that online. But they actually have some cool programs that you can get into. Southern University and A&M College. Southern University in Baton Rouge, flagship. So this is let me see what number we on right now. So rounding out the top 5, Southern University in Baton Rouge, flagship of the only HBCU university system, offers its rich educational tradition through Southern University Online. The university provides several accredited fully online programs at both undergraduate and graduate level. Online learners have access to a host of support services. You can do remote registration, get academic advisement via video or phone, and tap into career services for help with resumes or job hunting. Southern is a public 4-year university with online tuition typically based on in-state rates at approximately $4,900 per semester for a full-time load, though out-of-state online students often qualify for E-rate tuition. That's kind of high, but they have a good system. Now, this is one thing I think is very interesting. The only HBCU university system, I think that I don't know if this is possible because some of these are state schools and some are private, and so, but I think there has to be a way where HBCUs can form like some type of network, right? Like a system. I know in like a lot of states, they have their own in-state system, like the Texas University system, the Virginia University system, and what that pretty much means is you can like they all had their like a shared type of curriculum type of thing, right? Not shared curriculum, but they all accept each other's curriculum. So you can go from school to school within these networks, within these systems, transfer every credit one for one, right? It's an exact match. So you don't have to start over. They all recognize, like having a concealed carry license, or it's like having a driver's license, right? Every state accepts every other state's driver's license, right? I think HBCUs would greatly benefit from that. Maybe not every single HBCU of the 107, but maybe like the top 40. The top 40 could probably benefit from having some type of HBCU like university system. You understand? So that's pretty cool that Southern is in that. Albany State, this is in Georgia. This is the highest ranked one in Georgia. I noticed that the HBCUs, that like the famous HBCUs at the Atlanta University Center, they don't seem to want to dive too much into the online thing for whatever reason. But here we go. Albany State University. Albany State University is a public HBCU in Georgia that has become a standout choice for online learners as the largest HBCU in Georgia and the 10th largest HBCU in the U.S. Students can choose from 20 online programs ranging from associate to graduate. For example, ASU offers online bachelor's in business management, criminal justice, nursing, fire service administration, to name a few. At the graduate level, you'll find options like Master of Public Administration, Master of Education, Early Childhood Education. Each online student is assigned an academic success coach. In terms of cost, ASU is very affordable. It's a public university with online tuition roughly in line with regular in-state tuition, and Georgia residents may use Hope scholarships towards online study. Out-of-state online students can often get special tuition rates. Shout out to Albany. I didn't realize they were the largest HBCU in Georgia, but it makes sense because they are in the middle of the country, so they have land to do that. FAMU, Florida A&M University. FAMU is an elite public HBCU in Tallahassee. FAMU Online continues the university's 130-year tradition of offering undergraduate and graduate programs via distant learning with a balance of asynchronous convenience and community engagement. Notably, FAMU's MBA and public health programs have earned national recognition for their quality and focus on minority health issues. Classes are taught by FAMU distinguished faculty, many of whom are researchers and practitioners. FAMU's tuition for Florida residents at the undergraduate level is about $5,700 per year. Out of state is higher, but some online programs offer reduced out of state fees. So you're seeing some were like $4,700 per semester. This is $5,700 per year. So FAMU has good in-state pricing. FAMU has access to UNCF scholarships and other funds for Black students. Okay. I see, and I don't know how that stuff will change with this whole thing that Trump is doing right now, trying to get rid of like funding that specifically calls out race or nationality or anything like that. So it'll be interesting to see how this stuff moves forward. Morgan State University. Morgan State is in Baltimore, is a distinguished public HBCU that offers a cutting-edge selection of online degree programs. Morgan's portfolio spans bachelor's, master's, and even doctoral programs. Morgan made headlines by launching an online Doctor of Education and Community College Leadership and Doctor of Social Work, allowing professionals to attain the highest credentials online. You'll learn from experts and benefit from a university that regularly wins research grants, meaning up-to-date curriculum. As an online student, you can access writing centers, tech support, and library resources virtually. Morgan State's in-state tuition is about $8,000 a year, with out-of-state being close to in-state rates for certain programs. Okay, now $8,000 a year. Now you're starting to creep up there. But Morgan State is in Baltimore. That whole DMV area, everything's expensive up there, right? People have a lot of money up there, so they don't mind charging. And then we have Delaware State. Delaware State offers one of the most comprehensive online lineups among HBCUs, making it a top pick for online students who want lots of program choices and flexibility. DSU is a public HBCU and Delaware's only HBCU. On top of undergraduate degree options, DSU offers 2 doctoral programs fully online, a Doctor of Education and Education Leadership and a Doctor of Social Work. DSU's tuition for online programs is competitive. As a mid-sized public university, they aim to keep it affordable, and they participate in they participate in this program, right? Financial aid applies. Okay. Enrolling in DSU means you'll join a diverse student body. I didn't realize this. Student enrollment is 30% non-Black, and the campus community that is mission-driven and supportive. Now, that is interesting. That has to be one of the highest non-Black populations at any HBCU in the country, because 30% is a lot. And I'm not mad at them, because you got to get that money. You need everybody coming up in there, man. Plus, it's like literally Delaware State. It's the state school. And then last on the list, number 10, Texas Southern University. Texas Southern is in Houston. It's one of the largest HBCUs, and it has embraced online education through its TSU online programs, also ranking as number 1 in Texas in degrees awarded to African-American students. TSU Online provides several fully online degree options designed to meet the needs of busy adults while maintaining academic excellence at the undergraduate level. TSU offers 100% online undergraduate and graduate programs like BS in Healthcare Administration, Bachelor's in General Studies, Executive MBA, Executive Master of Public Administrations, and more. Support for online learners include help desk, online library access, and virtual academic advising. So that's the list. That's the top 10. Let me go back through it. Number 1. Well, let's go back at the bottom. Number 10, Texas Southern. Number 9, Delaware State. Number 8, Morgan State. Number 7, Florida A&M or FAMU. Number 7, Albany State. Number 6, Southern University. Number 5, Jackson State University. Number 4, North Carolina Central University. Number 3, Hampton University. Where was I at? North Carolina Central is number 3. Hampton University is number 2. And number 1 is North Carolina A&T. I felt like I needed to read all of that because I wanted to put all the respect on these HBCUs that are doing their thing. I went to Morehouse's website to look at their online program. They only have 1 online degree, right? That's cool, but like, come on, man. Y'all are in Atlanta. There's a lot of veterans here. Why are y'all trying to run from it? And y'all need fundings. Y'all need money. Y'all need people. I know they want to keep it like as prestigious as possible. That's fine, but y'all, the facilities ain't even that good up there. So y'all need to generate some money somehow. The sports program is not doing it. And the alumni don't donate like they should, or they don't give back money like they should. So y'all need to get that money up any way y'all can. There's no reason that the campus should really look like that, being in one of the wealthiest cities in the world. Definitely one of the most, there's a lot of money in Atlanta. So those campuses down there shouldn't look like that. And y'all are not, looking for ways to get more money flowing through there. I will say, let me see. So, another thing, you might think about, does an online degree, is it valued as much by employers as the campus degree or on-campus degree? And I would say yes, because when you get your online degree, nowhere on there does it say this is an online degree. This person didn't come to campus. No, it doesn't say that. You just have a degree from that place. They can't tell if you were online or not, right? Especially like, places like University of Phoenix or Western Gateway or what was it called? WGU. I forget what it's called. Places like that are widely known as online schools. But if you pull up to a job like, I have a degree from Morgan State, or I have a degree from Howard, or I have a degree from, I won't say Howard. If you have a degree from Morgan State or North Carolina A&T or Texas Southern, it would be expected that you were on campus. Nobody would know. You know what I'm saying? So it's a respected degree. So I definitely want everybody to really start thinking, my military people, please start thinking about that. because this is a good way to, first of all, get a great education. Second of all, that's your way of doing your part. You understand? Given that's easy money, free money. You're gonna get your BAH no matter what. Your BAH is coming to you no matter which school you pick, right? Go ahead and pick a HBCU. That's all I'm saying. Now let's move right along. And I had another long ass topic, but I'm gonna just finish it up with the case of the week, right? We'll finish it up with the case of the week, right? Now the case of the week is about the New Orleans mayor, Latoya Cantrell. She has been indicted on federal charges, man. This has to do with wire fraud and conspiracy to commit wire fraud and obstruction of justice and conspiracy to commit obstruction of justice. And oh boy. So she was pretty much having a workplace affair, right? She started this affair at least at the end of 2021, right? Started this affair at the end of 2021. She was married. This affair lasted until the end of 2024. Her husband died in 2023, right? Her husband, his name was Jason Cantrell. He was a prominent lawyer in New Orleans. By the way, yeah, so he was a prominent lawyer in New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? So the lady was cheating on him with a man named, what's the dude name? Jerry Vappy. Right? Not Jerry. His name is Jeffrey Vappy. And he was a police officer, right? So the mayor was pretty much having this dude assigned to her like personal security detail, and then they would travel all over the place together, and pretty much, you know, she was like giving him hours for work that he wasn't doing. Like they would be in a hotel for days or going to vineyards and stuff like that, and she would be authorizing him to be paid 15 hours of work every day, stuff like that, right? And this is an extremely stupid thing to go to prison for. Not saying that they shouldn't get in trouble. I'm saying if you are a person in a position like this, you have to feel like an idiot getting caught doing something this idiotic with your job and with your position, right? I'm going to just go ahead and read the government's, you know what I'm saying? You know, you got to go to justice.gov and get the actual joint, right? Let's go to justice.gov and see what's going on over there. Right. I like how they just give it to us as raw and real as we can get it. New Orleans Mayor Latoya Cantrell and former New Orleans Police Department officer Jeffrey Vappy indicted for fraud and obstruction of justice. By the way, Latoya Cantrell and her husband had a child. That child is like 15 years old right now, I think. And or the child was 15 when the dad died 2 years ago, I think. So she's having to deal with seeing in the media now that her mom was having an affair on her dad that passed away. So I know that adds insult to injury, throwing salt in the wound crazy. Let's read. New Orleans acting U.S. Attorney Michael Simpson announced that Latoya Cantrell, age 53, and Jeffrey Paul Vappy II, age 52, both residents of New Orleans, were charged in a superseding indictment today on federal charges concerning wire fraud and obstruction of justice. Cantrell and Vappy were both charged in a conspiracy to commit wire fraud in violation of Title 18, all that, as well as conspiracy to obstruct justice in violation of Title 18, all of these things, right? Vappy is also charged with 12 counts of wire fraud in violation of this thing, and Cantrell is charged with 6 of those wire fraud counts. Vappy is charged with making a false statement to the FBI in violation of this. Cantrell is charged in 1 count of obstruction of justice for this and 2 counts of making a false declaration before a grand jury. According to allegations contained in the superseding indictment, while Cantrell was mayor of New Orleans and Vappy was a New Orleans Police Department officer and member of her executive protection team, Cantrell and Vappy developed a personal, intimate relationship as early as October 2021. This has a lot of hints of Fonnie Willis and Nathan Wade. I'm not going to lie. A whole lot of hints of Fonnie Willis and Nathan Wade. From that time until Vappy's retirement in June 2024, they embarked on a scheme to defraud the city of New Orleans and New Orleans Police Department by exploiting Vappy's job and Cantrell's authority as mayor to have the city and New Orleans Police Department pay Vappy's salary and expenses during times Vappy claimed to be on duty, but when he was actually engaged in personal activities, often with Cantrell. The allegations contained in the superseding indictment describe the many steps that Cantrell and Vappy took to hide their scheme and perpetuate the continued fraud, including using a secure messaging app, WhatsApp, to exchange over 15,000 messages, pictures, and audio clips in an 8-month period. And intimidating subordinates, harassing a citizen, lying to colleagues and associates, deleting evidence and making false statements, and ultimately committing perjury before a federal grand jury, all of the purposes of distracting and impeding inquiries and investigations, including a federal grand jury investigation. In 8 months, they sent 15,000 messages, pictures, and audio clips. That's a lot of messages in 8 months. They was doing a lot. The fact that they was like trying to use WhatsApp to hide the whole thing, they was doing a whole lot in their 50s. So that means they really knew what they was doing. They can't act like they didn't know they was doing something wrong because you went to WhatsApp on purpose because you knew that you could set it to disappear, right? And they was in there deleting messages and all kinds of stuff. They got caught. The superseding indictment alleges that Cantrell and Vappy perpetuated their scheme both in New Orleans and during out-of-state trips. This is why the feds got involved, because they was traveling out of state. In both instances, Vappy's activities while claiming to be on duty were conspicuously different than any other member of the Executive Protection Team unit. While in New Orleans, they treated a city-owned apartment in Pontalba as their personal shared residence and coordinated to spend time together there, engaging in personal activities, while Vappy claimed to be on duty for EPU and was paid to be doing his job. Cantrell occasionally canceled scheduled work events to facilitate personal and intimate interactions with Vappy at the Pontalba apartment. That's a strange word to say. The superseding indictment also alleges that Cantrell and Vappy arranged for Vappy to accompany Cantrell on at least 14 domestic and international trips to maximize their time together and engage in personal activities. In their private text messages, Cantrell characterized trips with Vappy as times we are truly alone and what spoils me the most. These trips include trips to San Francisco, which Vappy and Cantrell decided to extend an extra day so they could visit a series of Napa Valley wineries. Who else went to Napa Valley wineries on the government's budget? Nathan Wade and Fonnie Willis. Remember that whole thing? They was out at the wineries and all that type of stuff also. Crazy. They must have been doing this at the same time because this is the same like time frame. While Vappy was wine tasting on April 9, 2022, he claimed to work and was paid for a 15-hour day. Yeah, he was definitely not working. He was working something, but he wasn't working his job. In August 2022, Cantrell said she would make it happen to Vappy, to have Vappy accompany her on a 3-day trip to Washington, D.C., a trip that they both agreed they needed. Shortly after they returned, Vappy described the trip to Cantrell as another leg in our journey. As he declared his love for her and their physical relationship, in total, the city of New Orleans paid over $70,000 for Vappy's travel on these trips. When asked about her reason for bringing members of the EPU with her on out-of-state trips, a practice Cantrell began on about 5 months after Vappy joined the EPU, she testified it was a pivot due to COVID as a matter of safety. At the same time, however, she continued to take out-of-state trips without protection. In fact, on the same day she gave one such statement, she canceled a work trip to Miami and traveled alone by plane, then by bus, then by ferry to the island of Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts to spend time with Vappy while he attended a conference paid for by the city of New Orleans related to his position on the Hano Board of Commissioners, a position to which Cantrell appointed him a few months earlier. On other occasions, when Vappy was unavailable to accompany Cantrell on a trip, Cantrell decided not to take another member of the executive protection. Superseding indictment alleges that both Vappy and Cantrell were aware their conduct broke criminal laws. For instance, in April 2022, an associate told Cantrell explicitly in multiple text messages that spending public funds and using public resources for her personal relationship was a felony. When Cantrell and Vappy learned that the news media was investigating their time together at Pontalba, they agreed to be straight and together. Days after the first news stories broke in November 2022, Vappy conducted numerous online searches for New Orleans area attorneys who specialize in the practice of criminal law, and he researched WhatsApp security features. But the defendant's wire fraud scheme nevertheless continued until Vappy's retirement in June 2024. By the way, I just want to say one more thing. Cantrell's husband, Latoya Cantrell's husband, died on August 14th, 2023. They came with this indictment almost 2 years to the day, August 15th, 2025. It was almost on his death anniversary that they came with this indictment, which is, I don't know if it's a coincidence or it's like they lined it up like that. I don't know. As alleged in the superseding indictment, in July 2023, the grand jury issued subpoenas to both Vappy and Cantrell, compelling the production of records, literally a month before her husband died. The FBI also interviewed Vappy. During the interview, Vappy lied about the nature and circumstance of the relationship. In response to the subpoena, Cantrell produced a selection of responsive records, but none of the over 15,000 WhatsApp messages she exchanged with Vappy. So that's like that's her line, right? Falsifying information to the grand jury because they asked for all the communication. She brought some, she didn't bring it all. Cantrell also created an affidavit sworn under oath that she had activated a feature that automatically deleted messages in 2021. Cantrell submitted a screenshot of her iPhone showing the WhatsApp messages were set to delete in 24 hours. In fact, Cantrell did not turn on that feature until December 26, 2022, roughly 1 month after the news media began speculating on her conduct. Vappy conducted online searches concerning WhatsApp and its security levels, and by the time several people had warned Vappy and Cantrell that their conduct was illegal. So once again, this disappearing messages feature, moreover, only applied to new messages. During roughly the same period, Cantrell also manually deleted thousands of her prior WhatsApp messages with Vappy. As alleged, even at the time period, Cantrell also manually deleted. Even at the time Cantrell responded to the grand jury subpoena, she still possessed more than 50 pictures, including screenshots of correspondence with Vappy that were responsive to subpoena, but she nevertheless concealed to the grand jury. Wow. The superseding indictment further alleges that Vappy and Cantrell continued their pattern of obstruction through the rest of 2023 and 24. This included improperly pressuring the intern superintendent of New Orleans Police Department to overrule findings of an internal investigation into Vappy's conduct. So they did an internal affairs investigation, and they said, hey, overturn that. Or they found some bad things, and they said, hey, overturn that. When the interim superintendent did not heed that directive, Cantrell ordered the interim superintendent to nevertheless reassign Vappy back to her protection detail. Months later, in a meeting Vappy attended, Cantrell informed the interim superintendent that the interim superintendent would be replaced. Similarly, when a private citizen took pictures of Cantrell and Vappy together in public, dining and consuming alcohol al fresco, while Vappy reported to be on duty, Cantrell obtained non-public information about the citizen, filed a police report, and sought a restraining order against the citizen. Okay, they were doing a lot in this affair. Man. Acting U.S. Attorney Simpson reiterated that the indictment is merely a charge and that the guilt of the defendants must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Well, y'all have enough records. I mean, they better take plea deals because they're facing a lot of time. If they are convicted of the conspiracy to commit wire fraud, Cantrell and Vappy each faces up to 5 years in prison and up to 3 years of supervised release. Okay, let's keep count. For each count of wire fraud, right? Because the first one was about conspiracy to commit wire fraud, but for each count of wire fraud, Cantrell and Vappy each faces up to 20 years in prison and up to 3 years of supervised release. That's 20 years. They can face up to 20 years for each count. Vappy is charged with 12 counts of wire fraud. Cantrell is charged with 6. So she's facing 120 years alone from the wire fraud. Vappy is facing, what is that, 240? Wait, what am I thinking? Oh, yeah. He facing about 240, right? For the conspiracy to obstruct justice, Cantrell and Vappy each faces up to 20 years in prison. That's That's 20 years in prison and 3 years supervised release for the false statement to the FBI. Vappy faces up to 5 years in prison, up to 3 years supervised release for each obstruction of justice count. Cantrell faces up to 20 years in prison, up to 3 years of supervised release for each count of making false statements to a grand jury. Cantrell faces up to 5 years in prison. So that's for each count. So these people are looking at, they could be looking at, if run consecutively, hundreds of years in prison, right? I'm assuming they won't be sentenced like that because, they didn't commit like violent crimes against anybody. But the amount of, and for each count, both defendants face a fine of up to $250,000 and $100 mandatory special assessment fee. Because of the amount of time that they're looking at, and I don't see a way where they could really like flip on each other unless they know about some like bigger fish they can tell on. They are cooked. I'm trying to think like what type of deal the DA might offer them to like let them, but it seems like the way that they were moving around, they were being reckless, and then people were trying to warn them, and they were still saying like, nah, I don't care. We hate you. Who cares? We're going to still do what we do. We're going to still move our money around. We're going to still, just, it was getting very reckless. And this is a black woman having an affair with I would call racially ambiguous man. I don't know what his race is. Let me see if I can pull a picture up and y'all tell me what y'all think he is. Y'all tell me what y'all think his race is. Let me pull this up. Photos. What y'all think his race is? So this is Cantrell and Vappy, right? This is them. So these are black people, I'm assuming, right? I know Cantrell is a black woman, but I don't know what Vappy is, right? They are about to get smoked. Let me look up, who is the district? Okay. Oh, this is not even district. This is feds. Let me see what U.S. Attorney Simpson looks like. Let me see if this is a white man. And not that it really matters, but it might matter. Oh, yeah. He's an old white man. Yeah, they're going to try to cook them. The feds going to try to cook them. I don't know how lenient. They might be lenient and say, all right, just go ahead and plead out and we'll run all these together and you'll just do 20 years. Like, that's a lot of time for some 50-year-old people to do. You understand? That's a long time for some 50-year-old people to be doing. But, the type of crime they committed, they put themselves in a situation that they couldn't even they can't even flip this and tell on somebody else. They can't tell on each other. Like, they stuck. They cooked. But that's the case of the week, man. That is our case of the week. New Orleans Mayor Latoya Cantrell, you are cooked. Had that affair on your husband. Now he done died. He probably found out about it. He died. Now you about to go to jail for it. You and your man going to jail for it. I know Fonnie Willis and Nathan Wade are looking at this like, woo. Glad we didn't get indicted. But I'm sure that they would have been indicted if they could have been, because the paper trail with Fonnie Willis and Nathan Wade they don't have a good paper trail to be able to show what was going on, because they were saying like we did everything in cash, we was paying each other back, like there was really no favors or gifts or anything like that, because we was like we had a net zero. Anytime somebody paid for something, we gave the money back in cash. So they had they had their thing airtight, but they are lawyers though. Nathan Wade and Fonnie Willis are lawyers. Mayor Latoya Cantrell and this police officer, they're moving like somebody that's having an affair with a police officer. You know what I'm saying? Now you're about to go to jail, because Jason Cantrell probably could have protected her from this. However, she was having an affair on him. So what can you say? What can we say? Y'all let me know what y'all think about this week's case of the week. And please make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share this video. If you like something that you've seen in here, screen recorded, and share it on your social medias and stuff like that. Follow me on the regular network on Instagram. Follow me at the regular network on Instagram. That's it. Yo, peace. Have a good night. I'm outie.